Last week, I talked about items that are extremely underrated in Deadlock, super powerful items that simply not enough people are buying. But today, I want to talk about items that nobody is buying, and for good reason. They're just really poorly designed items that I have beef with. I want to talk about exactly why I think each of the items in this video are just kind of terribly designed, regardless of their balance. And, well, I want to hear from you what your least favorite items are in Deadlock as well in the comments section down below. And unfortunately, we have to kick things off with one of the most unique items in the entire game, and that is Blood Tribute. This is extremely unique because it's the only toggleable item in the game. Instead of having a purely passive component or just having an active component on a cooldown, you can turn this on and off whenever you want. Look at that. That is pretty darn cool. And the buff it gives is also pretty solid. You get 35% fire rate, which is reasonably high. You also get 35% debuff resist, making this one of the best sources of debuff resist in the game, and you get 2 meters per second of movement speed. And additionally, passively, you get 8% debuff resist, 8% spirit resist, and 4 out of combat regen. So, not bad stats by any stretch of the imagination, except for, of course, the penalty that this item provides, which is where I have beef with Blood Tribute. So, clues in the name. You tribute your blood to get these buffs. 50 health per second health drain. This is static. It doesn't ramp up over the course of a game, so regardless of the time in the match, you will drain 50 health per second from your character, which does make this an item that's more suited to the late game. If you have 0 buffs, like I do right now, then well, you're just going to kill yourself and you're going to do so much damage. It's really not something you should be picking up early. This is another item that is arguably slept on, especially for the extra debuff resist that it provides. If you compare it to something like Debuff Reducer here, this gives you 25% debuff resist. This gives you nearly double that when factoring in the extra passive debuff resist on the item. This item is actually very similar to Frenzy, but for much less of a soul cost. Frenzy gives you 40% fire rate, 40% debuff resist, but it does it passively once you reach below 50% health, whereas this you can turn it on wherever, and you get effectively the same buffs, but you have to hurt yourself for it. And yeah, that just ends up being a playstyle that, it can be effective and is certainly very skill-based, but it just doesn't feel very good to play with, because nobody really likes doing damage to themselves, unless you're a Lady Geist or a Victor player, in which case pop off, you might as well, I guess, use this item too and play some sort of weird gun build. But on the majority of the cast, this just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel very good. I don't like doing damage to myself. Yes, the buff is powerful, but between the damage you deal with this item and also the damage that you're taking from the enemies, it's very high risk, high reward, and while it will help you survive better against certain enemies like Infernus thanks to the debuff resist, it's not actually as good against them because, again, of that health trickle that you're constantly doing to yourself with this item. Now, it used to have an anti-heal component as well, where you would actively inflict yourself with anti-heal. That felt really bad. Thankfully, nowadays, you can still get something like Bullet Lifesteal, and you can try to out-heal the damage from the Blood Tribute, and that actually works reasonably well. So that does help with the frustration a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's still just, I always find it to be very awkward whenever I rarely pick this item up, especially trying to time it for certain debuffs that are coming your way. Because, like, if Abrams charges you and you don't have this active, you don't actually get any debuff resist apart from the flat 8%, which is not a whole lot. Now, if you are able to time it successfully, then yeah, sure, you can recover from the Abrams charge and maybe parry him, but that's just a very difficult thing to do, and I find it to be much more difficult and also much less reliable than using other forms of counterplay, like a Warp Stone to get out of the way, or a counter spell to just completely block him, or even taking the passive route and just getting myself a reactive barrier. So this item is loaded with stats, but most of the time it's just easier and similarly effective to go for some other items instead and just stack them up, rather than tributing your own blood. But ultimately, Blood Tribute is the least offensive of the items I'm going to talk about today. I still think it's a very interesting idea. I just don't think I'm the target audience for this item. But the rest of the items, I really don't like them. And the first item of the big 3 that I hate is Express Shot. This item Ooh, this is maybe the most controversial take of the video. I hate Express Shot, and I have not liked it pretty much ever since it came out. This is a very weird item to play around. So it upgrades from high velocity rounds, it gives you some bullet velocity, that's great. But the passive here is really what's kind of strange about it. So your next attack will fire twice in quick succession with increased damage and velocity. This attack consumes extra ammo. Your base weapon shots deal 125% extra weapon damage, and it has 100% bullet velocity. Your secondary fire, if you have one on a character like Viscous or Shiv, will only deal 40% extra weapon damage, and it consumes 2 extra ammo regardless of what you actually shoot it out with. And there's no real way to avoid using the Express Shot. So if I just want to fire at a character normally, I'm going to use the Express Shot like that, and all of a sudden, wow, I just lost quite a lot of ammo, and now I already have to reload. And then I can just be shooting at them regularly again, and then, oh, whoops, I accidentally wasted the Express Shot. Wait, crap, I was supposed to use my alt fire for that, and now I just use it on a regular bullet. And you'll notice it really doesn't do much for most characters' guns in this game. Viscous' regular gun, yeah, I mean, he fires out the second shot, you know, reasonably quickly, and it does a little bit more burst, but I did, like, what, 50 damage? 26, that's 52 damage. So that is up from the 13 damage per shot, but, like, you would get so much more consistent value by picking up pretty much any other weapon in the item shop and using it for his primary fire like this. And so if you end up wasting Express Shot like that, you just have a dead 3200 item. It's also a little tricky for his alt fire, though. I actually kind of find myself messing it up weirdly because it gives it so much extra bullet velocity that, like, it acts almost a little bit differently to how his normal alt fire goes out. Now, this will end up doing a lot more damage, as you can see. Boom, I hit him twice for 139. The normal alt fire only does 53. And that can be useful for some burst combos, but this item just feels too finicky for the value that it provides. I mean, this is bursty, but it comes at the cost of me already almost being out of ammo. If I messed it up and I only use it on my primary fire, then I'm basically getting no extra damage. And instead of getting Express Shot, I could just get Mystic Shot, which adds, you know, a similar amount of burst usually. This scales with Spirit Power, so if you are playing a Spirit build, this will actually end up getting well over 200 extra bursts over the course of a game, and it helps you achieve that by giving you extra Spirit Power. So, yeah, that is really nice, and it has a similar cooldown to Express Shot, but without the downside of consuming extra ammo. Look at that, I did 60 damage on my primary fire. That's actually more than Express Shot. Wait, hold on. That's actually more than Express Shot on my regular primary fire, without consuming extra ammo, and without all of the extra fuss. It just scales better, it's cheaper. I think Mystic Shot is honestly just better in pretty much every single way compared to Express Shot. Now, if you're not going all in on Spirit and you are playing a gun sort of playstyle, then yes, Express Shot will eventually do more damage than Mystic Shot, especially with boon scaling. But also, like, if you're playing a more gun-heavy build, why get Express Shot at all? Because then again, it goes back to the consistency. Instead of having one burst of damage every 8 seconds, why don't you just get consistent extra damage that'll result in more damage over time from something like a point blank, a burst fire, weighted shots, anything like that? There's really only one character who I find Express Shot to be genuinely useful on in the current day, and that is Silver, because you can get Express Shot, and it actually buffs up her primary fire pretty well, considering the fact that she has the slowest, hardest hitting primary fire in the entire game, and so that 125% extra weapon damage makes her pretty bursty. And then when you add that up with the slam fire, well, you do that, and then you get a lot of points towards your Lycan Curse, and it helps you get into the Lycan Curse easier, where then you can get a bunch of other items like Point Blank, and then you can just, you know, shred them from that point forward. And so that is a good synergy, but, I mean, come on. An item for one character in the game? Yeah, technically you can use it on Viscous still. Yeah, I guess you could use it on Shiv. Maybe you can still use it on Paradox's Carbine build, but it's just so niche, and it's just so finicky to play around because you can't avoid using it, and it's got that 8-second cooldown, and it's so inconsistent. I have never enjoyed using this item. It's never been fun to me in the same way that Mystic Shot is fun to me, or most of the other gun items in the game are fun to me. Might be the hottest take of the video. Let me know what you think about Express Shot in the comment section down below. Shifting out of the gun category, but not moving away from gun builds entirely, we have Fury Trance. Ugh. This item is gross. I don't like it. And you want to know why I don't like it? can't use my gosh dang stamina. Oh, it's gross. Why? Why? Dude, Deadlock has the best movement system in just about any game I've ever played. I even like it better than Warframe's movement, and Warframe's movement is top-notch. And I have an item in this game that prevents me from using that movement? Ugh. Absolutely disgusting. I could stop the rant there, but I won't, because there are other things I don't like about this item. Because, I mean, technically there are other items that prevent you from using the stamina system, right, like Ethereal Shift, but they provide actual tangible benefits that just feel better than Fury Trance, right? Like Ethereal Shift, you're literally immortal. That's a fair trade-off, right? You don't need to use the movement system for that, but for Fury Trance, right, it's one of those items where it feels like you want to go in and really hammer the enemies home, but then you shoot yourself in the foot because you can't chase them. Like, you just can't move. So, like, how are you supposed to chase the enemies? They could just run away from you. And then you wasted your Fury Trance, and you wasted your opportunity to kill the enemies. You can try to pair it with some crowd control, of course, but it's not very fun. It's not very fun to play like that. And it also silences you. So, you know, if you do that, and then you want to try and crowd control them, well, good luck. You can't. So, yeah, and that also, you know, you can't, like, cut the silence early or anything. And so if you pop your Fury Trance, and then, you know, 3 or 4 seconds later you realize, wait, I need to use my briefcase, you can't do that. There's nothing you can do to stop the silence short. It's not a toggle like Blood Tribute where you can just turn it off. No. You self-inflict yourself with the longest silence in the entire game. The enemies, as hard as they try, without, like, stacking multiple silences together, they cannot silence you for as long as you silence yourself with Fury Trance. Which means that this item is restricted to only characters that basically don't have abilities. Which, spoiler alert, there's not a lot of those. Because even most gun characters in the game have abilities that they want to use. Like, you'll never see Venator buying Fury Trance, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna buy Fury Trance, and then, oh, I can't shotgun. I can't use my consecrating grenade. My abilities aren't real. My kit is useless. Like, you don't really do that. So the only character you ever buy Fury Trance on is Haze. Because you can activate your ult, and then you can use the Fury Trance. And it lasts for most of the duration of the ultimate. Obviously, it cut short a little bit there because I've got no items, but that's like the only use case for this item. And the buffs it gives you, they're fine, but they're not even that good. Because, like, okay, you get bullet lifesteal, you get 1% more bullet lifesteal than regular bullet lifesteal, right? You don't get any extra lifesteal during the active component, by the way, so it doesn't actually help you heal yourself. And it gives you 32% fire rate and 40% spirit resist. That spirit resist is good, but, like, you could just buy spirit resilience. You get pretty much the same amount of spirit resist permanently, and you don't silence yourself for it. And you also, you know, you get 32% fire rate, but you could just buy any other gun item. Like, you could buy burst fire, right? And that would give you more fire rate, it would give you gun scaling. And yeah, buying both of these items together is more expensive than Fury Trance, but it comes without the downside of not being able to use abilities or the movement system. So, to me, that's a pretty fair trade. I would rather spend that extra cash, and most characters and most builds in the game agree. And while we're on the topic of spending more money, you could just upgrade to Vamp Burst. And Vamp Burst provides you with nearly identical fire rate, actually slightly more, it's up to 34%. It doesn't silence you. And you get 70% bullet lifesteal, which is oftentimes way more synergistic for your kit because you're playing a gun build. And so you can get this item and you can still get your gun items and you just absolutely pop off. So much fire rate, gives you extra ammo too, so you get to bullet hose more, and you heal yourself back up to full HP 9 times out of 10 unless you're afflicted with Spirit Burn. So, yeah, this is just pound for pound better than Fury Trance, and it comes with no downsides either. 99% of items in this game come with no downside to your character. You have a few passive downsides, like Trophy Collector's minus 15% weapon damage to NPCs, which is bearable, but you really only have 2 items in the game that have downsides that seriously affect you. Blood Tribute with the 50 health per second health drain, and then Fury Trance with this massive silence. And I feel like Fury Trance, more than just about any other item in the game, does not really justify its super duper harsh penalty of a 6.5 second duration silence that you cannot cut short. Think about how many other items you can get a ton of power from that don't have a similar downside. You can get Metal Skin, and it only makes you a tiny bit slower, but it doesn't stop your movement completely like Fury Trance does. And this makes you impervious to bullets, whereas Fury Trance only makes you 40% resistant to Spirit. Regular old Spirit Resilience and Bullet Resilience just have absolutely no downside. As a matter of fact, none of the other items in the green category have a downside. And in a lot of cases, they also just provide you with better benefits than Fury Trance does. I could just, stick to regular bullet lifesteal, and then I could get any of these other items, and I'd probably genuinely be more effective than Fury Trance. Like, I could get a Warp Stone, I get some bullet resist, and I also have a tool to help me chase the enemies, or dodge the enemy effects entirely, meaning that I don't need to face tank them with 40% Spirit resist, all while staying really agile. I just really, really hate this item. It takes everything fun out of the game. I love abilities, and I love the stamina system, and it shuts down both for 6.5 seconds, and I can't do anything to turn it off, and I don't really jive with the buffs that it gives me. The buffs, yeah, they're fine, they're helpful, but it does not justify this silence. The last item we're going to talk about in this video is also a green item. No purple items in this video, because purple items are based, and I love them. God, did I unironically say based? Anyways, Cheat Death. Ugh, this is a vomitous item, and I actually have talked about it before in a previous video, and I'm doing it again, because I hate this item. It allows you to temporarily become death immune when you would otherwise take lethal damage, and it removes all non-stun debuffs, allowing you to have a second chance to get away. While death immune, though, you deal reduced damage and you have reduced healing. And this item is actually pretty good on characters who have powerful tools to escape, or powerful crowd control effects that they want to lock down on the enemies. Because, well, you'll notice none of these penalties shut down your crowd control effectiveness, or your ability to use escape options. And so a lot of people will buy this on Doorman, and, oh, whoopsie daisies, I took lethal damage. Guess I'll just doorway out, and if you chase me through the door, I'll cast Hotel Guest, put you in the Baroness, and I'll leave. Which is just so annoying, especially when combined with every single other ability that this guy has. Doorman is really a controversial character who a lot of people love to hate, including myself, and Cheat Death is part of the problem, because you finally land some powerful damage and crowd control on this guy, and then he just cheats death, runs away, and he lives to tell the tale. But also, if you thought the most powerful ultimate in the game wasn't strong enough, check this out. Boom! Help, please! Oh no, they killed me! Anyways, Cheat Death! I still have Cheat Death, and I can cast a second Singularity, and there's literally nothing they can do to stop that. Now, obviously, I just invested into 3 6k items, but, yeah, I mean, this is literally just like, once you get these 3, you become Thanos, because there's literally 0 counterplay to this. You can't kill him, you can't crowd control him, and he's got 2 of them. Like, good luck. Cheat Death is just one of those items that I feel like is really, really hard to balance, because depending on the situation, it's either the most useless item in the game or one of the strongest, most overpowered, disgusting things you can imagine. And for a select few characters in the game right now, it is pretty disgusting. Gives you a window where you cannot be killed, and then you can just escape with so many of the stupidly strong abilities in this game. But then for other members of the cast, it's kind of just something that they can't really take much advantage of. Like, oh, I bought Cheat Death on 7, great. Now I do no damage, I don't have any inherent tools to escape, and I'm just kind of delaying my own death, and so you can just stagger yourself with this item. It's literally an S tier or a D tier item on every character in the game, with no exceptions. Like, there's no character where it's just kind of, oh, alright, it's a B tier item. No, it's either you have something game-breaking that synergizes with Cheat Death, or you have nothing that synergizes with Cheat Death, and so, like, never buy this item. But I mean, the clue really is just in the name. Cheat Death. It just feels cheaty. It feels like you're being cheated out of a kill. And that really just never is fun. Like, at least, you know, if Dynamo uses Quantum Entanglement to save his teammate just in the nick of time. Like, yeah, okay, that's fair, you outplayed me. But Cheat Death just procs automatically, and then it gives you a window to escape, and it's just not fun to play against. when someone like Doorman or Dynamo abuses it. So yeah, I really can't stand this item. I don't think it's super well designed, and yeah, it takes the cake for one of the items that I hate the most in this game. But anyways, let me know what you think about these items in the comments section down below. Oh, I already ran out of ammo on Shiv. Oh boy. This character's silly. But yeah, do I just have skill issue with all of these items? Am I just complaining for the sake of complaining? Or are there some genuine issues with these items that you agree with me on? That they need some kind of rework, or maybe just shouldn't be in the game at all? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section down below. But if you thought this video was fun, of course, make sure to drop a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content like this from me. And with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.